Welcome back to another episode of Paranormal Perspective. I'm John Lordan, and joining me as always is...
Christy Arnhart.
Christy, as always, has done the research. She's looked into a particular paranormal or paranormal adjacent topic. We record this in front of a live audience. We put a question to them about, is there really something paranormal in this story going on or not? And all of it is to try to pull me back from the brinks of skepticism, which has been a little bit of an arm wrestling match over the 30-ish, 40-ish episodes that we've had so far. But there's been a trend of Christy kind of nudging me in her direction pretty strongly over the past few episodes. So we're going to have to see how it goes today. Christy, what is the topic?
See, I can't even say it without laughing.
Oh, it's a hilarious topic. I can't wait.
Today, we're going to talk about letters and other works by the devil.
Letters? Like he created the... Well, if he created a letter, I'd say F. F and U. He created those letters, I'm pretty sure.
Well, no, we're talking actual letters, like you would write in the old days to people.
Letter? Oh.
Manual emails, yeah.
Well, that's where my brain immediately went, was like, well, if the devil could write a letter, can't he write an email? And is he sending emails nowadays?
Now, see, we get into that some with the Ghost in the Machine, so.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get started, Christy. Do I need to bring up the photos now, or we need the question first too. What's the question? They're all in
order, and yeah.
Okay. What is the question that we're putting to the audience?
The question today were any of these documents written by the devil?
Any of these?
Now, I hope not, because why would you just leave written evidence laying around?
It's a good question.
I mean, why do you think I don't keep journals? No one needs to know what's up here.
I know. I feel the same way. Yeah, I've had a therapist for a while that's like, do you journal? And I'm like, no. And honestly, I'm just as worried about myself finding it as anyone else. Like, I'm worried about going back and reading it later and be like, dude, what was up?
I know. I'd be like, man, I was screwed up and didn't even know it.
Right. Well, Christy.
Well.
This lady does not. I don't think the devil's been writing her letters, has he?
Well, I'll just jump right into this.
Let's do it.
This is actually a picture of a Benedictine nun. And guys, I'm doing my best to pronounce everything today. Her name is Sister Maria Crocifissa de la Concesión.
Okay. All right. I think you did pretty good on that.
Well, thank you. Now, on August 11th of 1676, Sister Maria woke up in her room in the monastery of Palma di... We're going to leave it at that, guys. Montecharo.
Okay.
Palma de Montecharo. She was covered in ink, and she was claiming that the devil had visited her the night before and had made her write these letters, these messages.
Ooh.
Now,
okay.
Yeah, and you can show one of the letters. I think I have several pictures of the letters, actually. This is just a sample of one of them, so you can see, the types of letters and whatnot. When they inspected it.
This is almost like Zodiac level in terms of...
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It looks like a code.
Yeah.
Well, everybody in the convent, they were at a loss. The pages they were handed contained so many unknown symbols. They assumed that it was an unknown written language, but it seemed definitely demonic to them. I mean, I think that just came hand in hand with not understanding something back then. It's the devil. So that's what they went with right off the bat.
It makes me wonder, though. She's a nun, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just makes me wonder if she had studied at some point some different types of languages or texts, like in terms of her studies. Because it doesn't look random. Like, it doesn't look like,
No, and it has repeating letters.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it's someone having some type of episode or something like that. Like, it's very deliberate. The lines are being held as it's going across. If it is the devil, he's got decent penmanship, like in terms of staying on track with the letters and everything. But yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Now, this is not the first time we're going to see something like this today. There was a time in history that we went through a stage where this stuff was found written down, selling your soul to the devil, communications from the devil. Well, we're going to get to those here in just a minute. Now, Sister Maria had been harassed. Excuse me, I always have cat hair on my face. Sister Maria had been harassed by the devil and his minions before.
Okay.
It was said that the nun was known to scream and faint at the altar in the convent, saying that the devil was trying to make her serve evil rather than good. So this was a constant battle that she was having to fight. This led her sisters to believe that the letters were part of an elaborate scheme by Lucifer to turn Sister Mary away from God. I mean, that's pretty much what she said. So
Yeah.
the nuns totally believed her. And while no one could make any sense out of the code, they displayed it in the convent for I don't even know how long. They displayed it so that hoping somebody would come in there and recognize something, but nobody ever did.
Well, and I think there's probably also a valuable story in terms of who's being targeted, because you are talking about a nun that's being targeted, and just as a precautionary tale to the other people that are at that facility as well, just kind of like, here's the letter of, he's trying to get us. And if you guys don't stay strong, he's going to get us.
And if you need proof, here's a letter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, in the 1960s, the convent offered a free month's vacation to anyone who could decipher the letter. And again, nobody could. It wasn't until fairly recently that scientists at Ludum Science Center in Catania finally deciphered 15 lines of the message using a decryption program that they found on the dark web.
I am so happy it's going this way, because that's exactly where my mind went right off the rip, is like, well, get this in some analyst's hands and see if it's actually really a language or if it's just things that are being spit out. 15 lines of it deciphered?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah. They said, we heard about the software, which we believe is used by intelligence services for code breaking, because, it's not just criminals on the dark web. There's all kinds of people there.
Yeah.
We primed the software with ancient Greek, Arabic, and runic alphabet, Latin to scramble some of the letters and show, to show that it wasn't really devilish writing. So that begged the question, and I'll tell you what it says too.
Okay.
But it begged the question, how did she come up with a cipher that we've only been able to get through today, or a code that we've only been able to get to? Well, researchers have reason to believe that she was suffering from bipolar or schizophrenia.
Okay.
She could have been prone to the hallucinations and blackouts because of that. And she was also adept in different languages and how they were written. So either the devil made her do this, or in her fits, she would just come up with her own language that she cobbled together.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Like in her head, maybe she's rotating from one language to the next, like every certain number of characters or something along those lines. And it does, it does really look like they're letters from different languages that are being thrown together. Like
It's
the
crazy.
fonts are like changing almost from letter to letter. Like it's, yeah.
And I'm more likely to believe schizophrenia, but at the same time, I'm like, man, she put this together a long time ago, and we're just now breaking it with computers. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That
So
says
what do the 15 lines say, Christy?
Okay. It speaks about the relationship between God, Satan, and humans, and part of it reads, God thinks he can free mortals. This system works for no one. And then it skips a little. Perhaps now Styx is certain, and we're assuming it's the river Styx that she's referring to. Now it goes on to try and convince the nun to abandon her faith, arguing that God is merely the invention of man and that Jesus and the Holy Ghost are dead weights.
So, yeah, I mean, if this is originating from her, she's basically having like a life crisis about the choices that she's made and where she's wound up. And if she's having a crisis of faith, basically, if it's coming from her. I guess to the other point, if she is having an episode of some kind, she might not be aware of that necessarily, of that struggle. Right. Like it could be kind of buried in her, but
it goes right back to schizophrenia and the problems that I have with it, because I don't always believe those are hallucinations that people see. I've just known people who deal with schizophrenics and who are, I don't want to say they're psychic, but they have sensitivities, and they could actually see some of what was there. So that wasn't just the person's psyche coming up with that. Yeah. But anyway, back to the letter.
Okay.
They haven't released any more than the 15 lines. And I don't know if that's because they can't translate it or it doesn't make sense, but that's what we have. Satanic sects have been petitioning to take a look at it to see if it has any relevance to their faith.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, yeah.
Chris Donovan says she was probably brilliant, limited by society, and conflicted. I mean, in terms of the messaging we're hearing in the letter, that certainly sounds like a component to all this for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, in 1701, well, in October 16th of 1690, Sister Maria died peacefully at the convent. In 1701, they started the beatification process. And it wasn't until August 15th of 1787 that Pope Pius VI named her Venerable, which in Catholicism, Venerable is the title given to servants of God after the state of their heroic virtue or martyrdom has been proved.
Oh.
And a solemn decree takes effect, signed by the Pope.
So basically, they're endorsing that, yes, she was fighting the devil, essentially.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And which is odd, because usually the Catholic Church will immediately go with science on a lot of things like this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is just mental illness. But there was something about this that swayed them. Makes you wonder if the Vatican might have another letter that we don't know about, maybe.
Yeah. Or more of the interpretation completed or something along those lines. Yeah. Okay.
But now, as I said before, she's not the only one that has been caught writing for the devil.
Okay.
Another one is the story of Urbain Grandier, a 17th century French priest who was eventually tried and burned at the stake because, he was supposedly a witch. But I can see why they thought that. One of the documents presented at his trial was a diabolical pact that he supposedly signed, which also bears what are supposed to be the seals of several demons, including that of Satan himself. I think I see Donald Trump's signature.
This is like, there is artwork going on here. Like, this guy looks like he should be drawing up Flash for tattoos or something. I love this logo down here. But this looks very different. This looks really, really different. Like if we're saying that it's the devil coming through and he's actually writing this stuff, like this script, this looks like it's in a particular language. In a way, it almost looks mirrored to me for some reason. Like it looks like you're supposed to read it in a mirror.
Would that be something?
Yeah, but then there's, these drawings down here, like,
I mean, there's a pitchfork.
Yeah, I see that. It
looks like a hot pepper with a pitchfork.
Yeah. Well, it's a hot pepper wearing a top hat with a pitchfork. Let's get the detail.
He's stylish. But isn't that incredible? And they convicted him and burned him super quick.
Oh, goodness.
Mm-hmm. Now.
So this one, this one ever translated?
Do what?
Was this one ever translated or interpreted?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't have the translation in front of me, but it is translated. It's not in a code or anything like that. I want to say it's Latin.
Okay.
Because everybody, if you're anybody back then, you spoke Latin.
Mm-hmm.
So the last case that we have for today, I can't quit laughing or smiling. I don't know what it is about this that I find so funny, because, I shouldn't be laughing. But I just
is it this
really
picture,
like
Christy?
These three cases.
Is it because of this picture?
It's supposed to be the devil.
This looks like an early artwork for Gremlins. Like, if someone was trying to write the movie Gremlins, but they were writing it back in the 1700s or something.
Yeah, this would be, that'd be the gremlin.
Yeah.
This is actually a page from the Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible.
Okay.
And this large illustration is on one of the pages inside the Bible. supposedly, this is the actual size of the Codex.
That's a big book.
Look at this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's part of it's made out of wood, the binding and whatnot, just to hold it together because it's so big.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
That was like
supposedly,
the IMAX of its time.
it didn't
Right?
have to have glasses to see that thing, did you?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like an experience. Like, oh, you should have seen how big this book was. And because of that, how big all the imagery is. And yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, it is. It's incredible to look at. Atlas Obscura will show you a lot of the pages, and it's also been digitally uploaded. And you can just,
Cool.
do a quick search on it and find the whole book.
Awesome.
Now, supposedly, the Devil's Bible was written by Herman the Recluse, who was a Benedictine monk in the Czech Republic during the 12th century. Now, supposedly, Herman broke his monastic vows and was sentenced to be walled up in a room alive until he died, and he really wanted to get out of that. So he told the monks that if they would spare him, he would create in one night a book to glorify the monastery forever, and it would include all of human knowledge. I mean,
in one night?
shoot for the stands, guy.
I guess so. Jeez. All right, guys, we're going to do a podcast tomorrow, or not a podcast, a live stream tomorrow, and we're going to lay out all human knowledge in 24 hours.
Just boom.
Yeah.
On the page.
While I'm playing a game.
With illustrations.
Yeah, we'll be doing GeoGuessr at the same time. That's how we're going to get to it.
That's how awesome we are.
Wow.
Yeah, and now, as you can imagine, at midnight, the idea occurred to him that he was not going to be able to complete this by dawn. So he made up a special prayer to Satan.
Wow.
And said, I'll give you my soul if you will help me write this book so I can get out of this. Well, of course the devil said, yeah. So the devil completed the manuscript, and the monk added the devil's picture out of gratitude for his aid. That's where we get the big picture in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's estimated that reproducing just the calligraphy in this book without any of the illustrations or embellishments would have taken 5 years of nonstop writing. The crazy thing about it is there's nothing in here that shows it was written by more than one scribe. All of the handwriting, everything matches like it was the same person. And there's no stories anywhere of a monk or monks working on this aside from,
that's kind of, yeah, I'm glad you're saying that, because that's kind of where my mind went. Like, I know that books of this nature back at that time, like, you didn't have a printing press. So there was groups of people that were known to work together and would do sections of it, but they would have to keep it in the same style as they were doing that. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So, yeah. And see, what's crazy about this is it's not just a reproduction of the Bible. Like it said, there's all kinds of medical texts in there. It kind of tells you how to get along in life in the 12th century, I guess. It's just crazy. But yeah, It's put up nowadays. You can see it digitally. You can see it in person.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Christy, not that I'm trying to get you to win, but I also heard a story about the devil. Did you know that he went to Georgia? And he was looking for a soul to steal? He was in a bind because he was way behind. He was willing to make a deal. When he came across this young man sawing on a fiddle and playing it hot, and the devil jumped up on a hickory stump, said, "Boy, let me tell you what. You probably don't even know it, but I'm a fiddle player too. And if you care to take a dare, I'll just make a bet with you. Now, you play pretty good, fiddle boy, but give the devil his due. I'll bet a fiddle of gold against your soul. I think I'm better than you." Do I need to keep going with this, or do you know the story?
No.
Okay.
No. I think I know the rest of it. Yeah.
Okay.
And see, that's another legend of someone signing a contract with the devil is, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, the blues player that was supposed to have no talent, and then he sold his soul.
Yeah. It's turned into almost it was like a movie trope for a while. Yeah, signed away their soul to the devil. The problem is I think this is going to bring up so much fictional stuff. I don't know if I'll be able to find it.
Well, and there was no written agreement, so I didn't put that one in here.
Yeah.
Had to have a written agreement.
That's a good point. All right. Well, we put the question to the live audience. We said, were any of these written by the devil? So you had 3 shots, plus I added a 4th story. Were any of them written by the devil? 79% said no.
Now come on.
21% said yes.
I was in the yes group.
Yeah. I know you were in the yes group, but
I'm always in the yes group.
on this one, I think I'm in the no group. I don't think it's the devil. The most compelling of the stories, honestly, is the nun.
Yeah.
And I think there's a more interesting story there in terms of understanding the psychology of someone going through a life crisis and possibly dealing with mental health issues around that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's probably a very compelling story around that at understanding that. Does that mean that the devil was knocking on her psyche, trying to get, it's possible. I'm not feeling super strong about it because I think there's a more reasonable explanation. It's kind of where I'm at. But
well, there could be, but I'm going with the difficult one, and I say it was the devil.
That's true. And you've been known to stay on the difficult side, but I do have to subject you. Prepare yourself. I love that you have to watch this video every time.
Well, not every time. It sucks.
Oh, no writing from the devil. But if he was going to write something, I think we made a good point at the start of this episode. It'd probably be an email. And he'll probably be complaining. I'll get an email now from the devil that's complaining about this episode.
According to what we do in the shadows, even curses are digital nowadays. Chain letter emails.
I think we just heard of a potential episode topic for a future episode coming up. I'm pretty sure we did. Thank you guys so much for joining us on Paranormal Perspective. Christy, as always, thank you for your hard work on today's episode. Please join us again when we do this next week. And until then, we'll catch you on the other side. Bye-bye, everybody.